Hey everyone, Vegetarian Zombie again. This is the continuing adventures of the Introduction to Twine's tutorial series I'm currently producing. And in this series, this episode, I'm going to be covering data maps. I'll also be covering a couple other macros that will be useful in your Twine development. So let's just dive in. When we last left off, we created this little story called Derelict. And actually, let's just start her up over here by playing. And so far, it's pretty bare bones. You can see we have this thing. You can sleep if you want to. You can open your eyes. If you open your eyes, nothing happens. Okay, let's start adding the rest of this story. Now, some of you may be wondering what data maps are, and I'm going to be showing you why you may want to use them instead of sort of diving into the theory right away. So to do this, let's create our passage. As you can see, I created one right here. I'm going to double click this, and for the name, I'm just going to call this living quarters. And I'm going to give some text. Now, remember we went over the if statements, and since this is the first time you're coming to the living quarters, I'm going to give some intro text. So I'm going to use an if statement like so. I'm going to do if, and I'm just going to create a new variable called display LQ intro text. Okay, what this is saying is if this variable is 0, then what we're going to do is provide this text next. Now, when I created it, since I haven't defined this variable anywhere yet, this variable is always going to be 0. So here we have this text. It reads, "You roll out of bed and gently float to the cold metal floor. You don't need to read the system logs to tell that the artificial gravity is failing." Now what I'm going to do, still in this block, I'm going to now set this variable to false, or to true, which would be 1. So I'm just going to cover this like so, to 1 like so. And now what this does is it guarantees that this text here will only be displayed once. Now I'm going to provide the rest of the description. Okay, I've added this next paragraph. As you can see, it says yellow lights bounce from all the consoles. Red warnings litter your terminals. Your badge rests against the console. Your portable station tablet glows red with failure notifications. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm giving a description of the room, and I'm also describing what objects are in that room. So if I move it like so, you can see that now these are all linked up. Now this isn't linked up yet, so let's add a little link here. I'm going to copy this name, and we'll say underneath here, we'll just call this roll out of bed. And remember, this is the text that's going to be provided, and this is where that text is going to link to, the living quarters. Now, if we run this, we're going to open our eyes. Your eyes flutter open, and then we'll roll out of bed. And then you roll out of bed gently and float to the cold metal floor. And when we come back to this text will not be there. So now we have yellow lights bounce from all the consoles. We have our first indications of a badge and a tablet. These are objects that the user can ultimately grab and use later, maybe in some puzzles down the road. So you can see here we have these 2 description areas. Let's actually fill these out right now. So I provided descriptions, and what I also want is for the users to actually be able to pick these things up. So let's create some other links. Now you can see we have additional passages that we're going to fill out. Okay, so we have now all the descriptions for these items, and now we have passages when we indicate that we're taking them. And as you can see, we send the user back. So let's give it a whirl. So we're going to open our eyes. We're going to roll out of bed. Now we're rolling out of bed. Yellow lights bounce. So I can check out, oh, let's check out the badge. You need the badge to access all areas of the station. We come back there. You notice that first intro text is now gone. And then we can see the tablet. The tablet contains all the diagnostic information about the station. We're done there. Now let's take the badge. Without a stray thought, you stuff your badge into your pocket. When we come back here, you can see we can still take the badge again. So we need to make a variable to indicate that we've taken the badge. We've also taken the tablet, and again, we come back here to done. We shouldn't see these take badge or take tablet, and we shouldn't see your badge rest against the console. Your portable station tablet glows red with failure notifications. Both those should be gone now. So you may be tempted to create variables for every one of those states. And that's correct. You can do that. But what's going on is you're going to be creating a whole lot of work for you. And in fact, if we went with this pattern that we've developed here, we've actually have created a whole bunch of work. Every time we add a new item, we're going to create additional passages that say when the person picks up an item, or say when the user looks at an item. And that will get ultimately really unmanageable and unwieldy. That's sort of things that you would rather automate and focus this interface here to be just on the pertinent in parts of your story. So this is where data maps can really come in. Okay, well, what are data maps? Well, let me show you. I'm going to come up into a sleep, and I'm going to create a new variable. Actually, we have them right here. Let me just type them in one at a time so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. I actually had preset this up, but I forgot to clear that out. So we're going to create a new variable, and we're going to call this tablet. And we're going to set it like we set anything else. And we're going to use this new thing called datamap, like so. So you can see we're sort of embedding this new function call or this macro inside this other one here. So now we're creating a data map. And a data map basically is you're creating key value pairs. Well, what this means is you're going to define the name of a variable and what it's going to contain. So in this one, I'm going to create, say, name. This is going to be the name of the object. And I'm going to call this, I'm going to put a comma here. And this is station tablet. Okay, that's one field. Next, I'm going to provide a description of this. And I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to go to my station tablet description, and I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to put it in there. Like so. Next, I'm going to create another one called pickup text. This is the text I want to say when the user picks it up. So we'll go to the take tablet, and we're going to copy this. And we're going to come back here, and we'll fill that in. And now I'm going to create one last field, and I'm going to call this one is carried. This lets me know if the user is actually carrying this object. And we'll say false. So here we have this tablet. Now that I can access this variable anywhere inside my story, and then I can access each of these fields. So I can get the name of this object, I can get the description of it, and I can get the text that reads when a user picks it up, and as well as if they're carried or not. Let's do the same for the badge. And I'm just going to call this badge like so. And we're just going to copy the description over here. Oh, that's the pickup text. Okay, so we have these two data maps. And again, just think of them as key value pairs. And we're now assigned them to variables that now we can access. So let's come back down here. And I'm going to create a new passage. And now this passage, I'm going to call this, say, item acquired. And now here, let's do a little organization. And I'm going to call this next one item description. And I'm not going to put anything in there. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say done here. I'm going to put these back here. So we'll say done and done. Okay. So basically, anytime a user decides to pick up an item, we're not going to have a passage here. We're just going to have one passage, and it's going to be the acquired item, that description that is actually in here. Let me see, actually the pickup text. And same with the item description. It's just going to print out the description of the item that we defined in the data map, as opposed to having a separate passage for that. Okay, so here's where we actually do all the work. So how are we going to do this? Well, we've created these two variable data maps. Well, when we're going to pass in, we need to pass in some data into, well, let me take that again. We need to create a new variable to contain one of those data maps. So let's just dive into this. I'm going to create a variable called selected item. And I'm not going to give it anything. I'm just going to give it a 2. I'm just going to give it 2 empty, 2 like the open quotes and the close quotes. And this variable is only going to contain an object. So it's going to contain either the badge or it's going to contain a tablet. And what I can do here is then when the user clicks on a link, I'm going to then populate that variable to be either the badge data map or the tablet data map. So how do we do this? Well, let's come down here. We're going to be using something new that I haven't covered in this series. And this is called a link. The way the link works is you would type link like so, and now I'm going to give, say, a name for the link. And for this, we're gonna do we'll say take badge. So this is the name of the link, and now I'm just going to I'm going to close it like this, and like the if statement, we have these brackets, and now I can do some additional things when the user hits the link. So now I'm going to use set, and we're going to set the selected item to equal the badge, like so. So now when the user clicks the take badge link, the selected item will now be the badge. And then I'm going to redirect the user to the take passage that I defined elsewhere. So we're going to use something known as goto. And you just put the name of the passage where you want the user to go. So we want the user to go to item acquired, like so. Okay. Let's see if that worked. We're going to come here. We'll open our eyes, roll out of bed, and we're going to take the badge. Okay. So now we're in this empty passage. Now let's go into the item acquired. Now we're going to need to print out the value of the data map. And we're going to use another macro here. It's called print. And the way we do this is we're going to take selected item. We're going to print selected item, and then we're going to put apostrophe S. So you're saying selected items pickup text, like so. And now if we run this, open your eyes, roll out of bed, take badge, without a stray thought, you stuffed your badge into your pocket. Then we're done here, and you can see we still haven't changed the state. So let's change that now. I'm going to come back here into the living quarters. And in here, before the go-to statement, I'm going to add a set. I'm going to type set, and we'll say badges is carried to true. And now what I can do is I can put if, we can do another if statement. We can do if badges is carried is true, like so. And now we wrap this all in an if block like so. Now we'll play. We'll open your eyes, roll out of bed. I think I might have messed that up. Let's come back here. Is false. That was a logic error. Try that again. Open your eyes, roll out of bed. You can see the take badge. We'll take that without a stray thought. You stuff the badge in your pocket, and you can see now it's gone. So what I can do over here is we can now take this and replace it with this. And now let's do the same for the tablet. Now let's play this. I'll say open your eyes, roll out of bed. Let's take the tablet. You pick up the tablet, feeling the nervous sweat pool in the center of your back, and now it's gone. We can take the badge in there. Now we need to update this text so that we don't see this. And we also have to print out the item description, because right now we're going to the old item description. So first, let's fix this up, and we can simply go into items acquired. And what I'm going to do this is I'm going to copy this, and we're going to do the same over here. And we'll say items description, like so. So now we have these all set up. Now let's come in here. Now I only want this to display this sentence here to display if it's not carried. So let's come down here. And we're going to copy this. We're saying if badges is carried equals false, and then it's going to say your badge rests against the console. So we want this, we need to set this to be dynamic. So we're going to copy this link here down here. And I'll just copy, actually I'll just start fresh to be easier. So we'll do link. We're going to put the name of the link. So it's going to be badge. Like so. And we're going to set the selected item to be the badge. and then we're going to send them to the item description. Like so. And then over here, we're going to close out this if block like so. Let's see if that worked. You can see now we have everything should look fine. So we just did the badge, if I'm not mistaken. We'll come back and you can see now the badge is gone. And now if let's restart this again. We'll open your eyes, roll out of bed. We'll say your badge rests. Now when you click on this, we're going now to the item description as opposed to the hard-coded items down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste this for the actual tablet. Do like so. I'm going to copy this information here. Let's see, your portable. Okay. As you can see, it can get a little bit dicey in there. So let's go to open your eyes, roll out of bed, and now you can see our tablet. All right, we get to that. And then when we take the tablet, you pick up the tablet, now the tablet is gone. So that works really well. And to see, just to demonstrate that we aren't using these hard-coded things, you can see that we have these one-way arrows going to these. Now we don't have any direct links from here to over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these. Like so. And now we have two items like so. It makes this much easier. And now if we run, open our eyes, roll out of bed, we'll grab the station, we'll look at the station tablet. As you can see, its hard-coded description is gone. We can take the tablet and so forth. So it's really, using data maps makes things much easier to group information about an object into one location. So you're not having a gazillion different variables around that will clutter your code. As you can see, it gets cluttered enough already. Now, some of you may be wondering, wait, we're hard coding this done back into the living quarters, and that's true, we are. But I'll be covering how we can do dynamic passages in another tutorial, or dynamic links, I should say. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you've learned a bit about Twine, and stay tuned for the next one, which will be diving even deeper. See you around.